Ivan Pavlenko, From Family to Family. Chapter 2, Part 5, From Camp to Camp, read by Natalia Buzova. In July 1944, the Belarusian offensive operation of gigantic proportions began. A month later, it ended in the complete defeat of the entire central group of enemy armies. Our troops entered the territory of Poland. The war was now rolling to the borders of Germany. Hitler's command did not expect such a turn of events. There was nothing to patch the front gap for hundreds of kilometers. Panic broke out in the rear of the enemy. Railroad tracks and highways were clogged with echelons, equipment, and retreating troops. They were escorted from the air by our bombers. It was a repeat of 1941, only in the opposite direction. The next real chance was our liberation. The Germans had the healthy prisoners into columns and moved west on foot. We, the disabled, in the number of 160 people, were loaded into carriages and began to be transported one way or the other. There, the railway was not able to take us, and there, some camps did not accept because there was no place for the prisoners. Finally, our train found itself behind barbed wire. It had never happened before that the railway was brought to the camp itself, and as if there was a very ordinary station with a sign with people on duty at the station, but it was all scenery. Echelons of Jews and other categories of people doomed to be burnt in gas chambers were received there. They were unloaded, taken past the station to special barracks, sorted and sent to the bus, which they never left alive. It was Majdanek. Rows of barracks could be seen through the barred windows, and a chimney with black smoke rose in one place. We didn't know anything about crematoria where people were burnt. They thought it was some kind of a camp factory or food complex with a bakery. Our echelon stood on the tracks all night. Obviously, somewhere our future destiny was being decided, to burn or take somewhere else. At dawn, we were released from the camp, and a few hours later, we were unloaded at Demblin Fortress. We stayed there for 3 or 4 days. We went through sanitation and baths. We completely changed our outerwear and underwear. They gave us roasted German rags mixed with ours, and instead of boots, wooden pads. After that, we were loaded into wagons and taken further west. Somewhere on the border with Germany, there was a large concentration camp number 336. There we were housed in wooden barracks. Apparently, on Soviet prisoners of war who were on their way to Germany passed through that camp, which preserved the order of 1941. The boss there was a certain Sashka, not a man, a beast. Hefty, red-haired, 45 years old, he always walked with a thick, twisted stick in his hands and beat mercilessly to death. It was said that he was a Belarusian of the repressed or dispossessed. Every morning, accompanied by his deputy, who pretended to be a major, and several police officers, Sashka went from block to block and staged wild spectacles, which he called exercise and prevention. He lined up the prisoners in rows, took a whistle in his mouth, and at his signal they squatted and rose until someone fainted and fell. Then this executioner or his muzzled assistant set in motion their wooden sticks. There were other methods of bullying. Sashka put on a glove on his right hand and walked along the rows, choosing another victim. There was something he didn't like about the prisoner's posture, clothes, or gaze, and Sashka knocked him off his feet with one blow. That was already a prevention. When we arrived, he visited us with his guards. He walked around, looked, and only swore a few times. There was no one to mock. We were unhappy anyway. He walked away and never reappeared. We lived in that camp for a month, till the time there were several hundred disabled people, a whole echelon. Then we were taken to Germany itself and landed on the outskirts of Dortmund, a large industrial city. It housed an international camp for prisoners of war, Americans, British, French, Poles, Yugoslavs. We were separated from them to exclude any connection, but we knew they lived far better than us. They were fed according to a different norm. In addition, they received parcels through the Red Cross. And Stalin refused from us, saying that he had no prisoners, but only traitors to the motherland. And millions had been taken prisoner because of him. Among them, there were many who fought with the Nazis to the last bullet and to the last breath, being taken prisoner, severely wounded. I remember that camp, first of all, by the terrible bombing to which the Anglo-American aircraft subjected industrial Dortmund. It was at night. The explosions forced us to keep our mouths open so that the eardrums would not burst. The earth shook and bent. It seemed that the bombs were about to fall on the camp and we would be over. But none of them fell on our heads, and only ruins of the city's industrial facilities remained. The Allies bombed the targets accurately and apparently knew about the camp.